What's up, everyone? Saxman112 here. I hope all of you guys have been having an awesome summer thus far. And today I'm going to be doing a review of my 13-inch MacBook Pro. For those wondering, this is the late 2011 model. Before I go over any of the ports and the like on this laptop, I'm first going to share a few of the specs, which I'll also include in my video description. The processor of this MacBook Pro is a 2.8 GHz dual-core Intel Core i7, which I believe also has a turbo boost up to 3.5 GHz. I'm not too sure on that. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the comments. And this particular processor runs on the Intel Sandy Bridge chipset because that was what Intel used on this particular MacBook Pro until the next generation came out. And then in terms of the memory, it has 4 GB of DDR3 and a 128 GB solid state drive, which I absolutely love. And as I'll show you in a little while, that SSD makes this thing scream along with the 2.8 GHz processor. And also in terms of graphics, it has the Intel HD Graphics 3000, but if you get the 15-inch, you also get that paired with, I believe, some sort of AMD chipsets. Not too sure. I think on the latest ones they went back to NVIDIA, but I think for this particular model they used AMD. So now moving on to the ports. On the left side, there's the MagSafe power adapter port, which as you can see I have mine plugged in right now. Gigabit Ethernet, FireWire 800, which I'm so happy that Apple has finally done away with this on the latest generation MacBook Pro. Well, not completely, because you can still get a Thunderbolt adapter to use FireWire 800 if you need to. And speaking of Thunderbolt, this generation MacBook Pro came with one Thunderbolt port, two USB 2.0 ports right here, an SD card slot, and the headphone and audio in, audio out jack. And this might also be able to be doubled up as a headphone jack, but if I'm wrong in that, anyone just correct me in the description, or in the comments, excuse me. Then after that, there's this button right here, along with 8 LEDs, which will show you your current battery life. So if I press this, we can get it, there we go. All 8 of them come on because I honestly have my laptop plugged in. Then on the front here, you have a little spot which you can insert your finger to open the lid. And as you can see, there's actually no latch because it closes magnetically. Then obviously on the lid you have your Apple logo, which also lights up, which I think is pretty cool. I'll show you guys that a little bit later. Then on the front of the laptop here, there is the sleep indicator. And as you can see right now, it is flashing because obviously I have this thing powered on, but with the lid closed. After that, there is an IR sensor which you can use with an Apple remote, or the one that comes with your Apple TV too, if you don't want to use, or if you don't want to waste $20 on buying just a remote. Then on the right side, there's the Kensington lock slot and the 8x super drive, which is used for reading and writing CDs and DVDs. And last but not least, on the back, it's probably kind of hard to see. Oh wait, there we go. There's the hinge for the lid of a MacBook Pro, and it also doubles up as a vent for the processor fans. So now let's open this thing up. And that right there is one of the many things I love about the MacBook Pro. With the combination of the entire lid being magnetic and the soft opening, I just think it has a really nice touch to the MacBook Pro itself. And now with the lid open, not so sure if you guys will be able to catch this, but up there is the FaceTime HD camera along with its indicator light. I'll show that more later. And so the screen stops going off, I'll have to log in. There we go. And this right here is a 13.3 inch display. It's glossy and it has a resolution of 1280 by 800, and that's the only option you have for this MacBook Pro. If you want to get a higher resolution and or anti-glare display, you'll have to go with a 15-inch MacBook Pro. But in my opinion, I think this display is perfectly fine for what it is. I don't care really that it's glossy, because I'll mostly use this indoors and not really outdoors. So that's perfectly fine with me. Now moving on to the keyboard. As you can see, you just have your standard fare of keys for the most part. And this is another thing I really love about the MacBook Pro. The chiclet style keyboard. After like at least a couple days of typing on this thing, I've really come to appreciate it, because it's just nice to, it's really not as loud as my Dell's keyboard was, so that's really nice. So as you can see, standard keys right here, and then down here you have your function, control, alt, option, command keys on that side too, as you can see, and your arrow keys. And this is another thing I find interesting. For the caps lock key, that little circle right there actually is an LED right under it, which indicates the caps lock status. So if I press it, it'll turn on. I also think that's a really nice touch. And also up here on the F keys, you have, on the first two keys, you have your brightness adjustment, then you have mission control, launch pad, adjustment for the backlit keyboard, which I'll show right now. As you can see, it shows it up there too. And actually turn out the lights to see, or to show you guys what it looks like. So as you can see, this really helps out in situations where you don't have any light or it's low lit. And also, if you guys didn't notice, the display also adjusted brightness, because I had the automatically adjust brightness option turned on in system preferences. And I'll show you guys how to do that later as well. So actually, now I'll turn the lights back on. I have to turn this off quick. I'll turn the lights back on and I'll show you guys that the display will adjust brightness. There you go. It's probably kind of hard to tell on camera, but believe me, it does do it. Then moving right along, we have rewind, play, pause, fast forward, then your volume adjustment keys, mute, volume down, volume up, and finally an eject key. Then right below the keyboard, we have a nice giant multi-touch trackpad, which I absolutely love. This trackpad is much better quality than the one that was on my previous Dell Inspiron 1525 laptop, because the tracking is just absolutely astounding. Like seriously, like I have not had a single problem with this trackpad. And with the fact that it's multi-touch, that just adds so many cool features to the table. So I believe if I swipe to the left with 3 fingers, I should be able to access my dashboard. Wait, give me a second. Oops. Actually, that's drag. If you have 3 fingers on there, you can just go like this and drag in any direction. I believe it's swipe 2 fingers to the left for your dashboard. No. Actually, you know what? Actually, I know one. I believe if you swipe up with 3 fingers, you can access mission control. So if I go like this, give me a second, I'm just gonna cut the video. Sorry about that. Just after I cut the video, I went to my system preferences and looked at the gestures for the trackpad, and I figured out that for mission control, you actually have to swipe up with 4 fingers. So there you go. So as you can see, I have no other applications actually running right now. Well, in the background I do, minimized. But as you can see, I have my dashboard and desktop. And this is another little thing I love. The dashboard and its little widgets. So as you can see, I just have the stock ones. Calculator, weather, calendar, and clock. And those are the only ones I'll really use because I don't feel the need to really use the other ones too much. So now I'll just go back to my desktop. There we go. And if you swipe down with 4 fingers, you'll be able to do a feature called Expose, which will show all your open applications, similar to Mission Control, but there's a feature that is actually used prior to that. Okay, enough rambling on. Now I can give my overview on the OS itself, Mac OS X. And the current version that I'm running right now is OS X Lion, or 10.7.4, and there's my information right there. And if I go to more info, I'll be able to show more stuff. So as you can see, there's all the specs as I described before. So there you go. And I just say that I've really been enjoying the switch to OS X. Like seriously, even though I'm a geek myself, I absolutely love the simplicity that OS X has to offer. Because one of the things right here, the menu bar, something I really love about that is that it will change for any application that you're in, so that each application doesn't have to have its own menu bar. It'll always be on top here, along with the Apple menu. So that's one of the things I absolutely love. And also, I really like the dock down here too, because it gives you the easiest access to all your frequently used applications. And I know I already did a video about this not too long ago, but for those who weren't able to catch it, I'll just go over what I have in my dock right now. Starting all the way here on the left, we have the Finder, which is the Mac OS X equivalent to Windows Explorer. Nothing really exciting there. Oh, that's right, I had to do that. Then after that, we have the App Store, which is where you can get any kinds of applications for your Mac, and even some that have been available for iOS too. Early Bird, which is Mozilla's alpha build of their email client Thunderbird, and I prefer to use this client because it's what I've been used to on Windows, and I didn't want to have to deal with Apple's mail. Then after that, I have TweetDeck, which is a pretty awesome Twitter client, and this isn't actually a final release that's out. This is the beta version because I personally like this version better than the final release, in case anyone's wondering. Then after that, I have the Messages beta, and what this allows you to do is send messages to other Macs, iPhones, iPod Touches, and iPads using iMessage, and this is actually a feature that's going to come in Mac OS X Mountain Lion. Then after that, I have Google Chrome, and I'm using this as opposed to Safari because I have all my stuff synced up with my Google account, and when I got my MacBook Pro, all I had to do to get all my bookmarks, passwords, and the like over to my MacBook Pro was to sign into my Google account, and it was that easy. With Safari, I really couldn't do that. Then after that, we have FaceTime, iCal, iTunes, QuickTime 10, Audacity, Flickster Collections, Photo Booth, iMovie, iPhoto, DVD player, and system preferences. Then with this little thing right here, you can actually adjust the size of the dock, which you can also do in system preferences. And then to the right here of the dock, you have your minimized applications, as well as these things called stacks. As you can see, I added an application stack here, which has every single app that I've installed on my Mac, as well as ones that came with it. Then there's a document stack, which has all your stuff contained in your documents folder. Then you have the download stack, which is used with only Safari, I believe, because Google Chrome has its own built-in download manager. Then all the way to the far right, we have the trash. So overall, I would have to say that this is probably one of the best laptops that I've ever owned. So now to close off this review, I'm going to give my pros and cons of this laptop. I would have to say one of the biggest pros is this unibody aluminum design. It just feels like it's well built, and it feels like you're really not getting anything cheap because of the price you pay. And yes, I know it may be expensive for some, but I think overall it's a worthy investment for the build quality you're getting. Another pro I have about this MacBook Pro is the SSD. And I'll have to show you how fast some applications open right now. So I'll do iCal. And as you can see, it launches instantly. So that is very nice. Also, I guess I'll try TweetDeck. Launches pretty fast. So overall, I think the SSD is a worthy upgrade also to get for your MacBook Pro, because it's absolutely silent and you won't have to worry about it being corrupted for a while, because an SSD has absolutely no moving parts. The only disadvantages of an SSD though is that the storage cost, or the cost for more storage, is still slightly high right now, but hopefully those prices of flash memory will be falling soon and SSD should become standard. Heck, flash memory is even standard right now in the MacBook Pro 15-inch with Retina display, so I guess that's a pretty giant leap forward for Apple. So there you go. And another pro I have about the MacBook Pro is its battery life. I've probably gone through at least 10 cycles in this battery so far, and I've not been disappointed by the battery life. On average, I've probably gotten around 5 to 7 hours, depending on how I use it. If I'm watching a little bit of YouTube videos, that life will jump around a little bit. But still, it's been pretty impressive, and that, along with the combination of adjusting brightness, really helps give this thing better battery life. So there you go. And I would probably just say that my final pro for this laptop is a magnetic lid, because it just has a nice soft close, which I'll show right now. There you go. So it closes nice and soft, and it opens pretty easily too. And I just think that's another sign of great Apple quality that you're getting right there. Now moving on to the cons of the MacBook Pro. I feel like... What? Sorry about that little interruption there. Back to review. So finally, I'd have to say one of the cons of this laptop would probably be that the battery life indicator is not the most accurate at times, because sometimes it'll be up at like 7 or 8 hours, but sometimes it'll jump down to 3 or 2. But it's no big deal, and I know that the battery will last for a pretty long time, so nothing to worry about there. And other than that, I have no other cons, and I've been pretty happy with this MacBook Pro. I would have to say that this laptop is or the quality of this laptop is just leaps and bounds ahead of my previous Dell Inspiron 1525 that I have, because as opposed to the Inspiron, this MacBook Pro is entirely made out of aluminum, while that one is entirely plastic. So the difference in quality between this and that Dell is just night and day. So there you go. So there you have it. That was my review of the MacBook Pro 13-inch late 2011. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big ol' thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate that. Also be sure to comment on this video, sharing your thoughts of the MacBook Pro if you have one yourself, or upload a video response. Last but not least, please subscribe to my channel if you're enjoying what you're seeing, because subscribing just shows me that you guys really appreciate the content that I make, and that if a number keeps going up, that will make me really happy. So, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day or night. Quick before I end this video, I just realized that I forgot to show you guys how to enable the automatically adjust brightness feature here on the MacBook Pro, or Mac OS X in general. All you need to do is go to System Preferences, Displays, and check the automatically adjust brightness box. So that about wraps up this video now, and I will see you guys next time.